Hello everyone, my name is S Comic Maker and welcome back to another episode of Free Draw Friday. So this week, by a lot of requests from you guys, I decided to draw some more Deltarune stuff. But when I sat down to go draw, I ended up drawing 3 things, so we're actually going to see 3 drawings today. So getting started, I drew Lancer first, who is the character right here if you're not familiar with Deltarune. And you're about to see it in just a second, but I'm coloring, and this happens to me a lot sometimes. I get lost in coloring, and then as you see right here, I colored the gray, that dark gray, over his shoulder there. Now, I panicked at first, and this can happen a lot when you're doing traditional art. It's you know, the consequence of doing things this way as opposed to digital. Because when you're working in digital, if you mess something up, it's kind of easy to just, Control Z and back it up and start over. But when you're doing traditional, sometimes if you mess up, it's difficult to salvage. So right here, you can see me trying to turn that mistake into a shadow. And I was actually, in the end, thank goodness, able to cover it. But if something like this happens to you, it can be really frustrating, especially if you're very far into it. But there are a couple things that you can do to try to adjust or fix. Sometimes you can turn your mistake into something else, and in my case, I turned it into shadow. I was going to just originally leave this the way that the colors are in the characters, just bold and simple, but I ended up adding the shading because of my mistake, and it didn't end up turning out too bad. Sometimes you can scan it and fix your image when you're editing on your computer. Sometimes I'll use a stamp tool and fix it. But I know I didn't get to talk about this drawing as much, but Lancer's cute and funny, and I don't know, I just thought that he would kind of be in this silly pose. But anyway, so the second drawing that I did was, I really like the character Noelle. I know we don't know a whole lot about her yet, but I just thought her design was really cute, and I like the, I don't know, well, not really interactions, they don't have many interactions, but I just like the idea of Susie and Noelle. I think that they're very sweet characters, and I hope that in the other chapters we find out more, or that they get to chat more. But anyway, back to some of the stuff that I was saying about mistakes. So, like I said, sometimes you can turn it into something else or edit it afterwards. But just as, I don't know, if I can give any advice for mistakes, you can never learn if you don't make mistakes, if that makes any sense. So, say that you are painting a landscape, and you're not very good at painting landscapes, but you learn from, let's say you're painting a tree and you're having a hard time figuring out how to make your leaves look like they are all separate leaves instead of just a mushy pile while you're painting. Maybe they don't turn out so good one time, but then you notice that, oh, okay, well this time if I layer the paint and I start with doing dark leaves and then do a couple lighter leaves on top of it and then even lighter leaves on top of that. And you learn that maybe it didn't come out so good this time, but now that you figured that out, next time you kind of know how to approach that tree even better, if that makes any sense. One day I'll talk about and maybe purposely make some mistakes, or do a video where we do a painting or something like that, and I can show you kind of how we can turn mistakes into something else. But that's something that I find a lot, especially with my my students at school, is that when they make a mistake, it can sometimes feel like the end of the world, and they want to immediately give up and throw their paper away and not even want to try again. But sometimes what I do is I'll put a stack of paper, and I tell my students that if they get frustrated, instead of blowing up about it, to just kind of quietly go back up to where my paper stack is, and they can get as many pieces of paper as they need until they can get it right, because it's not always going to come out right. Usually, actually, it doesn't come out right the first time. It takes a lot of sketching and a lot of thumbnails sometimes, and a lot of planning to get a drawing right. Anyway, so this third drawing, sorry, I know we're kind of all over the place this time. This third drawing is of Jevil. Now, Oh my goodness, this is my husband's favorite character from Deltarune. And it's funny because when he first found Jevil, he's kind of like a secret boss fight. You don't have to fight him in the game, it's like optional, but my husband got so frustrated playing it, and I thought for sure by the end of this he would never want to see Jevil again. But actually, Jevil ended up being his favorite character, which, you know, honestly I should have known because my husband loves characters like this, so I should have just, you know, anyway. But I was trying to, for this picture, draw Jevil in like the Starbucks logo theme, and I was going to do one color, and then I decided no, I'm gonna do all the colors that I can for him, and then maybe I'll try this again at some point. Didn't come out as successful as I had hoped. It's still kinda, unless I say that it's representing the Starbucks logo, you might not have even noticed it, but that was what I was going for. I still like it. I feel like it would make like a really cool button or something like that. Maybe I'd redo this digitally or try again and try to actually make it look more like the Starbucks logo. But no, Jevil was fun to draw. He was interesting to figure out because I was looking at his sprite from the game, and he's got a lot of detail, but it's kind of hard to figure out what some of the detail is. And so I was looking at some of the fan art, and it's really cool to see all the different artists. And I guess this is true for like any Undertale or Deltarune character that's come out, but it's really interesting to see how people interpret sprites like for video games and how they should actually look when you're drawing them as the full character. I just think that's neat because I saw a lot of different versions of Jevil, and I tried to, I don't know, combine some of them or follow the sprite as closely as I could. But this one, while I don't know if it was the most successful one out of all the Deltarune pictures I did for this week's video, this one was actually my favorite one to work on and favorite one to figure out. So anyway, well, that's it for me this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed these videos I had, or these drawings at least. I had a lot of fun working on them. I'll probably do something different next week. I've been kind of on a Deltarune kick, and I've been wanting to draw more stuff, and so that's kind of why I ended up doing it this week. But next week should be, you know, something new, something different. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope that we can draw together again soon. Bye, guys.